besties. Welcome back to the Girls That Get It podcast with your favorite hosts, Ken and Han. We are back with the highly anticipated part 2 of our 36 questions that lead to love from the New York Times. So, we answered the first 12 questions in part 1. Now we are answering what they call set 2, which is questions 13 through 24. So we're going to answer those today and just spill all the tea. So, wow, that's that. Hopefully these will be good questions. Hopefully this will be good conversation. And they're supposedly deeper than the ones before. So if you want the tea and want the juice, stick around because it's going to get good. Okay?
Why am I nervy?
I kind of am too. I've read the first couple ones just because they're right here. But I don't know what the rest have in store. So this will be interesting. Let's just jump right into it. Number 13, lucky number 13.
Fave number.
If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about
crystal ball
about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
Nothing. Let me think about that a little bit more.
About yourself, your life, the future, or anything else. What would you want to know? I want to know how I'm going to die because I'm so afraid of dying. But realistically, if I actually had that option presented to me, I don't think I would do it because I'm so afraid. I feel like I just would avoid it at all costs.
God, no. That sounds awful.
I think I would low-key want to know who my husband is just so that I know he's not a freak. Maybe not. I don't know. I would... Wait, why are we switching spots? What's happening?
I did that because I noticed this button on my screen and I didn't know if it happened for just
I was like, oh, wait, is this glitching or something going on?
Sorry.
I would want to know a lot. I would want to know how I die. I would want to know who my husband is. No. But let me finish. I would want to know what my job is. I would want to know all these things, but I don't think I would actually go through with finding it out.
Yeah.
I would have an urge to, but I don't think I would do it.
Yeah, I get that. I think I'd want to know yes or no questions. Do I get married?
But then if the answer's
no, then I'll never date again.
That's what I'm saying. Or if the answer's yes, you're going to be like, well, is this my husband?
Right.
Is this not? I think
I'd ask somewhat more bad questions. Instead of asking, do I get married? I'd be like, do I get divorced?
Yeah.
Because honestly, that would hurt my soul to know.
Yeah. That would be bad.
Because if it's no, you don't get to know if you were married.
True. Or if you just...
Yeah. If it's yes, you don't know if you get remarried or fall in love again or have kids.
What the situation is.
I guess I could ask other questions, but maybe I'd just ask am I happy? Where do I end up living? I don't even know. Actually, no. None of it. Nope. Nothing.
I would ask for the next winning lottery number.
Sure.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't ask anything about my life, even though I would want to.
Maybe I'd ask the crystal ball to tell me one thing they think I need to know.
Yeah. Give me one piece of advice based on the information you have. Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 14. Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time, and why haven't you done it yet?
Duh.
I don't know. I mean,
the question was, what's something you've always dreamed of doing?
Yeah, is there something you've dreamed of doing for a long time that you haven't, and why have you not?
I mean, I think most of my dreams at this point are somewhat unattainable.
Yeah, I think the only answer
at this point,
I think the only answer that I feel would be accurate for me at this point would be I used to dream of moving to New York, and I never did, and I haven't, and I probably never will. I don't know if I ever will.
Never say never.
And why haven't I done it? I don't know. It just hasn't been in the cards. I thought I wanted to try to go to some kind of school, didn't really work. Thought I not there at least. Thought maybe after school I would move up there. It's just there's always factors in my life that change my decision. So I don't know. It just hasn't been in the cards for me, and I'm
I
not saying
still
I
think you should
never.
go.
I'm not saying I never would, but I do. Being realistic, I feel like the older I get, the less likely it
tougher
is
now
that it'll
to go.
happen. Yeah. So
I know. I still want you to go, bestie.
I do too, even if it was just for like a few months. I don't
See,
know.
then it wouldn't be Ken and Han take New York. It'd be Han and Ken take New York. We'd have to rebrand.
True. True. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything you can think of?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a pretty significant bucket list, but I think the main one, we talked about it earlier today off camera, is realistically, I've never really been abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think to see the world, and I don't need to go everywhere. I don't need to do anything. I just want to dip my toe in the waters to see if it's even for me.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing about me that I know for sure is I do not like the airport. I don't like being on a plane. It does not suit me. Now, am I fine when I get there?
Yeah.
Yes, but there's something even about not having like all my belongings and like living out of a suitcase that I don't particularly love.
Yeah.
I do well with it because I'm fine, and I like, truthfully, a lot of my life has been somewhat transient of living out of a suitcase with COVID and long distance things and traveling inside the US a lot, as well as moving frequently. Like, I'm not attached to stuff, but it's just like I want to travel with nice accommodations, and I don't know. So I think I just want to try that. That's realistic. There's other things like I'd love to be in a magazine. Don't know why or what, but to me, I'm like the paparazzi somewhere looking for me.
Yeah.
Or would love, to have certain things happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how to articulate. Or like go see the Northern Lights, or
Mm-hmm.
go to like these when I say world famous, like events like the Masters or the Super Bowl, or like just things like that. But I'd say all of those like have a legit reason.
I
the
mean,
traveling one's the main one that's like you could get up and go tomorrow.
Could figure it out. Yeah. I think the traveling one is a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 15. I hate this question, and I think you're gonna love it. So that's the problem for me.
Why do you hate the ones you think I love?
Just because you have an answer for this and I don't. You'll see. Number 15. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? The reason I hate this question, because everyone wants to know, is because I feel like, and what I'm about to say is, I don't say this to shit on me or shit on you, but I feel like your career is set in stone. Like, you have your shit figured out. I don't. No, but let me finish, because I'm also about to roast you. So like for you in this current moment, like going for you have a really strong career. Like, you are doing what you have wanted to do.
Yeah.
You love your job, XYZ.
Sure.
I am not in the same boat as you. The job I'm in now is not my dream job. It's not the job that I want to be doing for the rest of my life, or that I will be doing for the rest of my life. But when you flip the table, like, I guess you could say my love life and personal life is better than yours. So it's like,
yeah.
Not
and it always has been, though.
Not to shit on you, but that's just the reality of our lives in those individual areas. So,
what was the question?
What is the greatest accomplishment of your life is the question. I'll let you answer first.
No, you go first. You set the stage.
I have accomplishments, but none that I feel like are the greatest of my life, which I guess that's the point of growing, is that there's always going to be one accomplishment now is going to be, I guess, topped by the next one. So I guess I would just say getting my master's degree, because that's like the quote unquote highest like career / like,
it's like a big milestone
in that realm. So,
well, and it's somewhat also an like optional thing in a good way. Like, not everyone has to do that. And even like graduating college is one of those things that like you can feel pride from, because like, sure, we might come from families that's like encourage us to go, and maybe sometimes even people have the expectation to go, but like at the end of the day, you're a free will human. Like, you can do
For
what you
sure.
want.
Yeah.
And you showed up, you got good grades, you got the dang thing done.
Yeah.
So I get that.
I think, yeah, getting my master's degree would be my my answer, because that was a big accomplishment. So
Yeah,
I kind of forget that I did that.
I know.
Like,
I don't,
wait,
but I do at
I'm
the
like,
same
wait,
time. To me, it's like one of the most things I think about most. Because like when I talk about you to people that don't know you, it was like, oh, my best friend's getting her master's right now doing XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
Just because like it's such a milestone for you, but like it's also a universal understanding. I think sometimes when you're like, my best friend's an interior designer, they're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Hey,
Except
the
for
lady at Home Goods wanted that connect.
I know, I haven't reached out. Maybe I should.
She heard John say, ask your interior designer best friend,
Yeah.
and then she goes from the other aisle, you know,
True,
an interior
she
designer.
was
I was
looking.
like, girl.
Yeah. Can you read the wording one more time?
What is the greatest accomplishment of your life?
Okay, yeah. Initially, when you read this, the first thing that came to mind, which I think really hones in on the first thing you shared, is just really what you define accomplishment by.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it seem very like achievement oriented.
Exactly.
And I think what you said is really important though, because there will be a time in my life where I hope I get to say my family, my like relationship with my husband, hopefully one day too, like the family I've built with my kids, or like the environment I've created with them and all that stuff. And of course, like a loving, happy home, and a house, of course, that I love because I like design stuff. But then also, to your point, similar to like our last episode of just being able to support myself.
Yeah.
But then it's also easy, to your point right now where I'm at, to say, to look at my career and say, oh, there's XYZ milestones that I've hit in a relatively short span of time and all those things. So not to give a cop-out answer, but what I'm going to say is just myself. And it's because something I share a lot of times in like meetings at work about growth and stuff is, and you've heard me say this, the greatest project you'll ever work on is yourself. And so I say that to be all encompassing, because you're right. I think, and we've talked about it a lot, like off camera, I'm really trying to navigate this life outside of a career.
Yeah.
And I've got so much time to do it. There is absolutely no rush, but it's also like, you know,
still
if I'm not putting effort into it, I'm not just going to magically wake up one day with a ring on my finger and a family plan.
Yeah, for sure.
And I am someone that would like to plan a family, not just stumble into one. So yeah, I respect both, and I hope at different times in my life I have both. I would say you're correct that right now, if I had to be tangible, it'd be my career. But then there's also the narrative, like, how do you ever give up that success? Because it's hard to have it all.
It's most people don't. People who like celebrities who you see and you're like, oh, they're rich, they have the best job ever, and their husband is perfect. Well, that's because you see what they want you to see, and that goes for any celebrity or not celebrity. That's just the reality of what social media does. It's a highlight reel. So,
and like, I think about Kim K sometimes, and even though there's a lot of things I think to admire about her, and I don't know what I don't know, but you just gotta put the dots together that she's got 4 kids and probably 4 companies and like 100 jobs. Like, everything is not getting her A game effort. And I think it unfortunately sometimes falls back on the family. Not that she's not a wonderful present mother, but like, there's no way you're doing it all.
No. And
you know,
I feel bad for Kim, just in like all the stuff she's gone through with like splitting up from Kanye. Like, that whole thing is crazy.
It's awful.
So yeah, no, there's no way she is doing it all, because there's just so much. But that goes for anybody. I think it's hard for anybody to have
her narrative change from her kids. Like, I think North specifically.
Yeah.
And like, this woman does justice reform. She goes to the White House. She she's such a giving lady.
Yeah. I don't know how. I don't know how she does it. I guess I don't know.
I know, but I think of her a lot when that questions like that are asked, and it's just like, she's gonna say her family.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder what she would say, but probably her family.
It's not that she hasn't done truly everything else under the sun and crushed it.
She literally has. It's insane. Okay. Number 16. What do you value most in a friendship? This one's good. This one's good. I feel like for me, 2 words come to mind. What?
I want to hear what you have to say.
The first one is honesty.
Yeah.
And the second one is like, we listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I want the brutal honesty, but I also want like the grace and the like understanding of that. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't know this solution to everything. So if I'm doing something silly and goofy, you can call me out and be honest, as I hope you would, but also don't judge.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I think there's times for both of us and our friendship in those moments that just really stick out of like, I can think of a couple for both of us, and if I think about it too much, I'll probably cry. And there's a clip from way back in the day on the pod of us kind of talking about this. I feel like, of course, there's so many things that solidify our friendship, and specifically like being someone's like greatest best friend. But it's like when you pick up the phone and you know you're wrong, but you know your friend's not going to judge you anyway.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, I was a dumb bitch, or she told me this and I did it anyway. But like at the end of the day, like I don't want to call my parents and I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
And maybe I need help, but I'm going to call her because she'll answer and she's going to help me.
Exactly. I feel like that's the most, like, one of the most important things, because then it makes you feel like safe with the friendship and like allowed to just like say what you need to say without feeling like someone's going to shame you or like be like, you're wrong or you're this, you're that. So
yeah. And I think for us in particular, those moments is when we grow.
Oh yeah, we've definitely had our moments of not being honest and being judgmental.
Correct. There's been the judgmental moments, but then there's the times when we come with our tail between our legs.
Definitely.
That it's like,
okay,
now I know, bestie, I have to change.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I've seen what I've needed to see. And I can't tell you how many friends, though, would rather die on their hill and go through like the torment of whatever pain they're experiencing, emotional, physical, like any of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of one for me, one for you, that I'm just like,
I'm thinking,
bitches.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where I'm just like, is it really worth it? Like, is it really worth it? I hope it is, because like, nothing to. And maybe they just were never true friends to begin with, but it's like, I feel like nothing is worth that much to like ruin a friendship over, but whatever. I don't know. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything about friendship.
There's a couple friendships in my life that when they've like kind of ended, and there's one in particular that like I audibly made like a statement of like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's when they stopped trying to help themselves. And I had rescued, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. There's a point where like you're actually not helping yourself. And and it's not that it hadn't been for an extensively long period of time, because I mean, I think for both of us, at least the instance I'm thinking about, mine was a long ass time. I don't think yours was quite as long, but it was still long.
Yeah,
mine was dumbly long. Yours actually might have been longer, but that also might gone into me not knowing for as long.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Potentially.
Well,
I think we've come a long way. And
of course. Sorry.
No. You're good. I mean, that's the whole point of the podcast, is to talk. So, yeah, I think those are all good things. Next question. What is your most treasured memory? When you said something so funny that we can't. No, I'm kidding. Treasured is a little. That's probably my funniest memory. But treasure. What's your most treasured memory?
That's such a.
It's so hard to pick one.
That's really hard to unpack. Like, I want to say, of course, it's something from childhood, but there's a couple things like even more recently that I just think so fondly of. Or like sometimes it's even something someone will say that I'm like, wow, this really sticks with me. It might not even be like the moment. It's just like, oh, but let me think of something concrete here.
Most
Just in
treasured.
general or
I
with
get.
each
I
other?
mean, I don't know. I think they mean in general, but I guess we could do it however we want.
Treasured memory.
This is hard. I'm like running through a million scenarios. I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
things from being a kid. I'm also like, my initial thought to this is like, there's a few, I guess, memories from being a child that I can think of. And then
Yeah.
I'm also thinking of like memories that I've had with like stupid memories with like a high school boyfriend where like we were like laughing on the beach, running in the sand and doing whatever it was that like felt like a little high school movie.
Yeah.
Which like I don't know if I would say that's my most treasured memory, like that memory specific, but maybe just like that feeling of just like being
Yeah.
a teenager and like
Yeah.
nothing matters and you
100%.
think that that's like the end all be all and you don't even know what's coming.
Yeah, that's actually really special.
So I feel like not necessarily a specific memory where it's like, oh, my first boyfriend took me here and it was amazing, but maybe just like being young and thinking you're in love and like
Yes.
thinking that like all of these things, like you just don't even know what life is.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're like in a cloud of like, oh my goodness, this is everything.
I think that's a really good way to describe not the love part, but honestly my second relationship in life.
Oh yeah.
I just think so positively about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about it often, but like it was just a time, and that time, even though not perfect for a lot of reasons, it's just like you were kind of lost in the moment of like this is just so fun right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of the like the feeling that I'm trying to capture.
I've got a couple specific things.
Okay.
One was I remember when I opened my acceptance letter to Parsons and where I was at and who I was with. I was in you'll get this. I was in science class in Hester's room. And
oh gosh.
It was one of the last ones to be posted. And I remember the next week I actually ended up booking a ticket to go to New York to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting next to Cameron, and Addie and Matt were behind me. And I was like, I am so nervous to open this. Addie, can you please open this? And she's like, no. This is your moment. You have to do it. And I remember opening it and I was like, I don't even want to read it. I've never been so nervous. And then of course I got in, and then it was the first moment like I kind of like my stomach dropped in the sense of like, oh, now I like this is actually a possibility and I have to make a decision. It's not just a dream.
It's like, well, it still is a dream, but it's not like just a thought. It's like becoming a reality, or could be.
Yeah. And then to counter that, I remember our family sat down and had like a family meeting, and they let us kind of share where we were wanting to go to school. And I remember like I didn't know until I said it in that moment. I was kind of just going back and forth of this and that, and I had crossed one out definitely. And I was down to my top two, and I was like, oh, these are really two different choices. And then I just said one at the end, and of course it was Parsons. And I remember my parents' reaction, which was not favorable. But I also just remember like I said it, I can't go back now, even though like I hadn't pressed accept or anything.
Right. I mean,
and I was just like, this
in your mind, you were like, this is the choice.
This is it. And I was like, it clicked right then. I was like, your life's about to change.
Yeah.
And I was like, you have to seriously start thinking about it's no longer a board on Pinterest. Like this is happening.
It's about to be a reality.
And then the last one I'll share is my senior dance recital. I remember dancing my solo for the last time. Just because I think I'm a very reflective person, and it's one of those things, like, I've been dancing since I was 2.
Yeah.
And I'd been to that same auditorium on that same day for almost 18 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, the time is here. And there was one moment in it, like, I almost cried. And I just, like, if I think really hard, I can go back to that moment and that day and that thought.
That's crazy. I couldn't tell you. I don't even remember my last solo. I mean, I know. Yeah. I remember what it was, but I don't remember, like, the moment like that vividly. I wish I did, but that's really cool that you remember that like vividly.
Yeah.
That's a good memory. I feel like too, if you know anything about the dance world, your like senior year, like the ending is like always so dramatic, not in a bad way, but in like a everyone's crying. It's like so emotional. It's so crazy. It's like it's like the end of one era and the beginning of a new one, and it's like a big thing. So that's a really good one.
Yeah.
On the other side, the next question is, what's your most terrible memory?
Motherfucker. Did
That's
you share
what they
a good
said.
one?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you say?
I said the whole thing about like being in love and like that feeling like in high school and I didn't say a specific instance.
Got it.
Because I don't have a specific example.
Oh, I thought that was you just setting the tone.
No, that was me giving my answer.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to cut out my response.
But if you want a specific one, I don't know. I mean, I could say when I was a kid, and maybe if I have to say a specific one other than that first thing, I would say when my mom surprised me with our dog Red at our after school program. We had been looking at this dog at this pet store for the last like month, and then one day she just bought it without telling my dad, and she picked me up from after school. She walked in the door with Red in her hands, and I was like, is this the dog we've been looking at? And I was like so happy. It was the best day of my life.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
So I guess that would be my specific answer.
That's such a happy memory.
It's so good. I remember it so vividly, and I was so young. I was in elementary school, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what dreams are made of.
I bet a lot of people have some sort of a memory attached with their pet or first pet at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, what's your most terrible memory?
Jeez, man.
I don't know. I have so many. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I can't probably say this on camera. Well, I could. Okay, I'll say it, whatever.
Yeah, say it. This is a safe space.
Well, at first when I read terrible memory, I thought about like death immediately.
Yeah.
And I was going to say like when my grandpa died, which was a really terrible memory. But then I thought about when Brandon died.
Yeah.
And don't ask me why or how, but I was looking for a specific conversation in our text messages.
Recently?
Maybe like a couple weeks ago. I was looking for a conversation, not about Brandon, not about that. I was looking for a different conversation about something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to remember that.
But I was looking for it. And while I was looking for it, I came across text messages between us, like when he died.
That you were way back there.
I know, because I think it had to do with I think I was looking for something that had to do with somebody that we were friends with.
The girl.
I don't know why. I think I was just like maybe in bed one night thinking about something, and I was like, and then I just started scrolling.
Being like, we're over it.
I just started scrolling because I like wanted to find this one conversation that I vividly remembered having. Anyway, I never found it. I ended up reading through all of our text messages that we like were talking about
called me
during when he died, and for one, it was just really sad, and for two, I was. Do you think she listens?
No, fuck no.
I was so pissed off because I was like, and I don't know if
she
you
made
remember
it about her.
Yes,
yes.
Do you remember that?
Well, I think,
or you remember me being like,
I think I remember that. Well, I think what happened. You correct me. I'm just gonna spitball here.
Okay.
Well, I remember I was still in New York. I didn't get to come home for the funeral.
Correct.
I remember sitting outside my dorm, and I think you called me, and I don't know if it was, maybe we were just texting, but she came to you to like help, and so like her and I were texting sidebar of like is Hannah okay? Like, just mental well-being check. And then you were like, this bitch is kind of taking over the narrative and like low-key getting my sympathy.
Yes.
And like,
yes,
I think you were the
yes.
last person he dated at the time. So
I was, yep.
like, obviously beyond his like immediate family probably weighed on you the most. And like, granted, I did not know him very well. Of course, just felt the magnitude of the age and like
Of course,
connection to
yeah.
you. But like, she jumped in there and was like, so yeah, you tell me what you read though.
Oh yeah, I was just going off to you about her.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe this. Like, she is like crying and like saying that she needs to talk to all these people. And like, I was calling people. Like, I think I called like a couple of his friends just to like
Yeah.
check in with them and also like see if they knew. And I think she like took the phone with some of the people and was like talking to them. And I was just like so mad. I was just like, I can't believe this. She's so selfish. She's making this about her. Like, she's
Right.
like acting like she needs to talk to all these people, and she wasn't even friends with
Right.
him, and she's like da 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 da. I was just so mad. And like,
Yeah.
honestly, I forgot that happened until I was reading his messages, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this now. She like,
I feel like you were in your mom's apartment that was by my house.
I
Yeah.
was. And I was just like, I was just, I guess, so pissed off that I felt like she was taking the attention.
For sure.
Which, like, not that I needed attention, but I was just like, excuse me, ma'am, like, this is way more about me than it is about you.
Well, and that's going back to the friend that's there and not judging. Like, I think you have to have the self-awareness in that moment. Not that she can't feel that pain, and we don't even judge her for feeling that like sadness, but
no, because she knew him, whatever, she's allowed to be sad. But I was just like in disbelief that like
she shouldn't have also come to quote unquote comfort you and check on you if it like she wasn't in the place to provide that kind of like stability.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So
that's
that
unfortunate. And we were young, like
we were young. We were 18. I might have been 17 still.
Yeah, 18, 19.
17, 18.
No, I remember.
Yeah. And I mean, we had been broken up for a few months, but his parents still thought we were together when it happened. So like, they had no idea any of it. But anyway, yeah, that was a really bad memory.
That is a good one.
I don't know if, I mean, probably something around death, whether it be that or like my grandpa dying or like, I don't know, just death is sad. So I'd probably say that's my most terrible memory. What about you?
Mine's kind of really sad too, and I'm not going to go too much into depth on it. But it's more sad. I'm more sad about how I felt at the time, but I think it's President's Day weekend, my freshman year of college.
I'm trying to remember what happened.
There's one person that greatly affected that weekend for me that's going to know what that means.
I know who the person is, but I just don't. I can't remember what actually happened. But I guess that's not important. I can paint the picture.
It was just like, if there was a moment where it's like I've seen what I've needed to see, it was that weekend, and I was hurt in a magnitude of reasons. And I think I was just. This is back when I was saying in the last episode, I think, about like my victim mentality. Instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to remove myself from this narrative. I'm going to turn it around and just like no longer let that affect me. I was looking for validation in others, self-worth in others.
Yeah.
I didn't have that internally. And I just remember like wallowing for the rest of that year because of this event, not quote unquote going my way, which like in hindsight, I didn't even want it to go my way. I would have been fucking miserable if that was my reality. And it was more just like, I don't think I'm completely, or the other party is completely blameless, because like, I don't think having a good heart and caring and giving a shit is ever a bad thing. I just could have handled different things, but I just gave too much, basically, like to a friendship, to a human, to a scenario, to a narrative. And truthfully, my entire 4 years of college, I know there's a narrative that exists about me that's honestly false. Part of it I let happen, and part of it was just defined by that moment, and it was carried ever since. And truly, after that moment, it did slowly start to get better. It wasn't entirely better probably until sophomore year, and definitely by junior, senior, I was like in a different spot. But it was like, I just remember feeling so worthless and so shitty, and like There's also a specific instance with my mom that I like can't even talk about because it makes me really sad. There's actually several now that I say that come rushing in, but again, I'm someone that forgives. I don't forget.
True. And that's fair.
Yeah, and most people that have hurt me in life, unfortunately, have not just hurt me once. Part of that's my problem.
Yeah.
But part of that is also...
But at the same time, I mean, are you going to cut somebody off because they do you dirty once? It depends on the level of dirty.
I think now I'm very cutthroat.
It depends on what they do. Like, if it's something extremely serious, then, like, yeah.
There's a difference in my feelings being hurt, but there's a...
Yeah. There's a difference
just
between
like
upsetting you and then, like, someone doing something actually wrong.
Yeah.
Or like crossing a line.
Yeah, I think of more of those kind of things. Like I just hate seeing how down I was or like wallowing or crying.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Or I'm trying to think if there's a time I just felt really fucking guilty. No, I don't get gaslight pretty easily. That's one thing.
The other time I can think of is when me and Josh were screaming at each other. But honestly, that wasn't even my most terrible memory because I barely remember it. So I don't know. Yeah. I just know it was bad.
I remember getting kicked out.
That's probably
that next morning was
more
bad.
Embarrassing instead of terrible.
That's fair. You know what pisses me off? A memory I think about.
What?
You kind of get dragged into this too.
Oh, what I do?
This is really putting other people's business out there.
Does this have something to do with New York?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something about that time. Anyway, continue.
No, but I'd love to know what that time is. I'm sure there was.
Just the time where we were in Jersey, just that time. When we stayed there at that terrible house.
What did I do then?
You didn't do anything.
Oh,
I thought you just meant like the situation. Like
no.
Oh, okay. So you're about to say something you did that involves me.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Okay, continue.
So I shared something with one of our friends.
Oh, yeah. Say no more.
And it was the cold hard facts. I didn't lie.
You didn't make
I didn't
anything
construe
up.
any truth. But a certain someone was very frustrated with me. And I know, and I've probably expressed this to you at the time. I felt so stuck in between these two people of like,
I remember.
If it was me hearing this about you, I'd be telling you.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was equally as close with both of them, if not more so with the person I ended up telling. And what frustrated me, I definitely took the fall for it, which rightfully so. Like, I'm the one that said it. But one, it wasn't gossiping because it's not like I did it in the middle of their relationship. I waited till after. Two, I didn't lie, and everyone was like, that was a fucked up thing to do. And I was like, you didn't make it up. Yeah. Truth. Like, I came with fucking receipts.
Yeah.
And there's two more points. Third point, in the messages, I called her out for it being fucked up.
Yes, you weren't hiding the fact that you were like, this is not okay.
Said, I don't agree with this. This makes me uncomfortable. Please do not talk to me about this anymore.
Yeah. So you laid it out there. You made it known how you felt.
Yeah. And then for everyone to get pissed off at me because I was looking out for a homie, like, sorry, I have a moral compass. Like,
yeah, that was a messy situation to say.
That was kind of fucked up,
the least.
And I got painted as the villain, which I love a good villain card. Come on, let's
you were the villain, and honestly, you probably still are in their eyes in that scenario. But
I'm sure.
I'm a villain now too. Apparently, she doesn't like me, so I don't know.
But she wrote for you 10 times harder after that. She gave no fucks.
True, that's true.
And then she said that awful thing about me.
Which one?
She just said things that really...
Remember that?
Wait, which time?
Remember when we were on the phone and we were like, let's say what we don't like about each other.
I do think about that often because I fucking hated her right then. And she was so funny and she was like, I think you're perfect.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, be fucking for real. Like, that cannot be your answer.
I was such a bitch at the time. And I think you were in on it. I think I was just trying to bait us to get her to say something mean because she wouldn't. And maybe that's why she was so mad about that instance because she thought I would never fucking betray her.
Probably. But
There's one thing
Ew.
about me, I'll snap on you. Don't you worry.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. All right.
I feel like we've overshared.
We need to move on. Next question. Good thing no one listens. If you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you were living? Why? I hate
yes,
that,
but not marginally.
I hate that my answer is probably yes.
My answer's typically no. I would just leave work on time. I wouldn't stay late. That's all I would change.
Oh yeah.
I'd still work. I just wouldn't leave early.
Yeah, I would work. I would just work a different job.
That's fair. That's
Probably.
fine.
Or
Part of that is like, first off, realistically, most people, even if I quit right now, I've only got so much money left to live. I don't just have this wealth stacked up currently.
Exactly.
To do the things I'd want to do,
Yeah.
I need to work up a little bit. Also, off chance you don't die in the next year.
Yeah, then what? Yeah. No, I would probably say that, or maybe I would say like if I knew I was going to, cuz I feel like I could see myself like in hold on, my headphones are
Okay.
in like how old am I? 25. I could see myself in like 10 years like maybe starting a business of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what that is or looks like now, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. So maybe I would just like try to do something like that sooner if I knew I was gonna die. But
Yeah.
other than that,
For
I would
sure.
also spend less time on my phone,
Love that.
and I
Be
need to
out
do
there
that
more.
anyway.
Yeah, we should talk about that after.
Be more
'cause
present because it's really a vicious cycle. It's terrible.
I've got confessions I need to share.
Yeah. So I'll add that one in there just for funsies.
Question to follow up that. Would you tell anyone that
No.
you were going to die in a year? I don't think I would either.
I don't think so. I think I would just let it happen.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like that would do worse for them than good, because then they're thinking in their head all the time. Now they have to live differently to accommodate me, and it's going to affect, they're going to be like scared for the next year, like anticipating this moment where I don't think I would
Right.
want to change the way that they live.
Well, I don't want a pity hangout.
Exactly. Like,
If
oh
you weren't
shit,
going to
you're
see me in a whole year, then you weren't
then
going
you
to
don't
see
see
me.
me. Exactly.
Yeah. You don't be seeing me.
Exactly. I think we answered a version of this. There was that question earlier about what do you value most in friendship, but this next question is, I guess it's different. What does friendship mean to you? It's similar.
Ride or motherfucker die.
Yeah, exactly.
Darkness of the night.
That one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
it
say
means you
the same
clocked
exact
in.
thing. And also
Yeah.
just like,
Loyalty.
yeah,
Acceptance.
you're taking the words out of my mouth. You're taking the words out of my mouth. This is good.
This is
When she knows, she knows. Yeah, I would say all those things, and just like knowing that you are just like there for each other no matter what.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I
I
mean,
almost got it backwards.
quantity over quality.
I was like,
No.
which one?
Quality over quantity for sure. Yeah, I feel like there's not much to say about that. I feel like
Yeah, go watch part 1.
everything you said is true.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's interesting.
How many more do we have left?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we're kind of on a roll.
Number 21 out of 24. What roles do love and affection play in your life? I knew you were going to react that way.
Yeah, see, I think we should talk more about, maybe it's a different episode, like about some of these differences, and maybe we should unpack them.
About what? Like how, like our love life and career conversation that we were talking about earlier? Yeah.
Yeah, and even that, like, what value, and I say this because I think back in the day, if we would have the conversation, like, what value do we put on a relationship, I think our dialogue would be taken somewhat a negative tone. And now I don't think the conversation has really changed, but I think what we mean by it has.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
And
that'd be a good episode, I feel like.
I do too. And I think I personally would take a lot away because it's an area of growth I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good thought. So what roles do love and affection play in your life?
Yeah, you take that one.
What roles do they play? See, I don't want to just say like, oh, I have a boyfriend and so I'm in love, and oh, my family is nice so they love me and that's good. I feel like the roles that love and affection play in my life. Well, okay, I guess I'll preface it by saying I am in a relationship. So that part maybe affects or does affect my answer. And when I say that, like, I would say love right now brings value to my life. Like, that's kind of a version of the role it plays. Not, and I don't say that to mean like I feel valuable because I have love. I think I'm more so saying that like value is added to my life because I have a positive like relationship with love right now. Whereas like if I just had been heartbroken, I would probably say that love contributes negatively to my life. So I would say, yeah, love and affection add value to my life, and
Love that.
they make me feel safe and like understood.
Oh, that's really cute.
I think. And I'm coming from a place of being in a romantic relationship, but I think those things can also apply to friendship and family, as especially friendships of like kind of what we were saying earlier about like just being understood and knowing that like you have somebody to go to. So I think, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I feel like that is an accurate representation of what I think.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really special and not rare, but like kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you feel differently? How do you really distinguish love and affection for you? Or are they the same to you?
No, I feel like affection is the product of love. Like love
very
is the cause of affection, if that makes sense. In a way. That's at least how
for
I initially
you, at least, yeah.
That's how I initially like think about it. Because I feel like,
I get what you're saying.
which
I hadn't thought about it like that, but I get what you're saying.
could be different when you're looking at a non-romantic relationship as far as like physical affection goes, but you can show mental affection and like emotional affection as a family or friend. Totally. And I feel like it's a product of love. At least that's how I feel in this current moment.
Yeah.
What would you say about that? And then also, what would you say to the answer to the question?
I'm going to answer that one first, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat the question just so I know the wording.
Yeah.
To me, affection is a lot more approachable and something I can, at least at this moment, relate to more.
Yeah.
Because to me, affection is somewhat correlated to attention. And not entirely, but
I see that.
Like the effort and emotion spent on a human, as well as like, I think, and it's not just always romantic, but receiving compliments and feeling cared for, you kind of have to learn how to receive in all scenarios. And I think particularly romance affection, I love it and I understand it, but I somewhat feel guarded around it because it leads to love, right? Where I think you were thinking almost inverse, where I'm thinking opposite of like, for me, dating someone, you start to like them and then you get affection.
You're showing affection before you get to the love part. Yeah, that makes sense too.
You like put in the effort and offer to do things, and then you either break up one day or realize, oh my gosh, I might spend my life with this person.
Yeah.
Where I think love, it doesn't scare me, and I think I have a good understanding in like the family, friend, non-romantical way. I don't know if romantical is a word. And I think I saw something yesterday and it was a joke, but it was like something about deep down, or like forced to be a CEO, but deep down I'm a lover girl or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty accurate. And typically I'd be like, nah, whatever. And I actually looked at it for 2 seconds yesterday and I was like, I think that might be accurate for me. Because I do aspire to be in love. And that was really scary to say. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be magical and amazing. And there's no guarantee in it ever at any point. Will you repeat the question?
What roles do love and affection play in your life?
Right now they don't. I feel a lot of self-love, and I'm thankful I'm at a place with myself in life that I don't feel like I'm missing anything because I don't have love or affection in a romantic kind of way.
Yeah.
I think affection is also something I'm more familiar with because as someone that's single, I'm not a public figure, but I'm easy to find. Basically, there's one Ken Casto.
Right.
Attention is just always there. If I want to talk to a guy, if I want to meet someone, if I go up to a guy at a bar, things typically work in my favor. It's not that I have to try hard. It's really choosing some of those tougher decisions of what am I looking for? What do I want? Is this fun for me? And I've gotten a lot better recently. I'm I didn't actually like you. I liked the attention, or I liked the role that's served for me right now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we're also getting to the age, and when I have been dating older guys, and it's you're probably ready to start a family, and I'm not.
You're not quite there yet. Yeah.
Is that okay with you? That kind of stuff. And I'm not having that conversation very often, if ever.
Right.
But it's just going through the head too.
Yeah.
Especially when things haven't gone my way. I'm realistically, we were getting to the point where we'd need to have this conversation, and I don't think they're gonna like my answer. But it's something that I consistently challenge myself to be more open to. And we kind of touched on it earlier. If I'm not trying or not putting effort into it, it's never going to happen. Even in the last relationship I was in, I still very much was myself. And that's, for me, the biggest growth between relation 1 and 2 to me is I was night and day difference. And sure, those individual guys don't know that, and they don't need to. It's not their business. But I leveled up as an individual in those relationships from 1 to 2. And not to say either was both were good for their time being, respectfully. It's just now imagine from 2 to 3.
Crazy.
Get over it. And then potentially 3 to 4, whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's more to me what I look for of, again, similar with everything, we're getting better with time. And I need to do a better job of cheesily holding space for love, because I think it just takes time. I think a lot of people get affection confused for love, especially in the beginning parts of dating.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, he's obsessed with me. He would do anything for me. And it's just that's not really it.
No. People get the two confused sometimes, I think it's safe to say.
So yeah.
Okay, good answer. Okay, this one, alternate sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner.
Okay.
I don't know how many they want us to do.
Maybe 3 each.
Okay. Alternate sharing something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner.
We're don't know. Actually, it's really tough.
I think I know they didn't ask for this. This wasn't a question. Well, okay, I'm just gonna say it. I would say a positive thing, and more so I'm saying that I think it's everything can have its negatives.
Sure.
But the reason I would say this one's a positive for you is it's because I feel like I lack this sometimes and you are better about it. And I feel like it's that you care too much, and maybe you don't care too much anymore as much as you used to, but you care about. And I know we were just saying that you have no problem cutting people off now, but I feel like you care
pretty good
more about not strangers, but I feel like you're good at caring about people that don't matter.
Yeah.
Or not that don't matter, but scenarios or
yes.
people or just like things in life. I feel like you,
The greater good.
yeah, I feel like you care more and like are just thinking about other people.
Sure.
More so. Not saying I
Yeah.
never do, but I think that's a positive thing about you is that you like
I
care
get
about
that.
others more than yourself sometimes.
Agreed. That
Which,
I would agree with.
yeah, a roundabout way of saying all that is
Mhm.
that's what I was really trying to say.
Yeah. I think part of that is I deal with people every day. My job is to study people,
Yeah.
and I know you did psychology, so you get it as well, but it's
Yeah.
different when you're practicing it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking too, the things that I think of positive about you are the things I also think that are somewhat negative or that I like don't excel at.
Yeah.
Like on the same note, I was just thinking love. Like we were talking the other day about a guy for me, and you were like, you need to give this man like a chance. And I was like, I'm done. No,
Yeah.
he cut
Yeah.
the cord. Like just
Yeah.
no reason. And I think I just need more of that.
Mhm.
And part of it, I like that I'm quick to judge, but then at the same time, I'm sure half of that also comes from, I don't want to say trauma because that seems deep, but like previous
things
notions
that have
of
happened. Yeah.
opening up, and you're like, no, like, and you're pretty open too about your experiences of, I think all of your relationships or even the people that you've like been involved with but maybe not date, of like, I give them several chances and
Mhm.
they still piss me off about things, but that's just life. Like
Yeah.
no one's perfect. And my girlfriends in Denver will say that a lot of too, of like, you just shut people down. And it's like, because I think I am perfect.
Which there is a time and place to shut people down for sure. You don't just need to be giving everyone constant chances. But I see what you're saying.
You encourage me to like if I'm the Grinch, my heart grows like 2 sizes to give them a chance of like,
yeah.
Okay, redemption.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Another one I would say for you is that like you are very well, except for social media, you're very committed to doing something like when you're doing it.
Thank you.
I mean that in terms of like your work, in terms of like when you moved to New York and you were like, I'm going to do this, you committed to that and you like saw it through and you did it. I feel like you don't give up very easily, which I think is a good characteristic to have.
Yeah. I don't even feel like I cancel plans that often.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't come to mind.
Yeah.
Even if I want to.
You just go and suffer.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're smart. Like, I think you're smarter than you give yourself credit for.
Mm.
And I think, like, I'm kind of thinking about your New York comment, and like you danced around. Like, there's just been things in your life that it just hasn't made sense to do some of those things. Where I don't want to say I'm the opposite by any means, but I think when I don't want to say we were growing up, but like the narrative used to be like, oh, like maybe you didn't take risk or whatever. And really, I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's nothing wrong with doing what's going to work out, and also doing things that you equally want to do just because they're also like a safe option, or like taking other people into consideration for decisions, whether it's your family, your friends, like what you've heard about different schools. I think sometimes or not even sometimes, I used to be so judgmental of like I would never make a decision for someone else.
Oh yeah.
And I really commend you for just like
I have
yes. Doing that and being like smart about it. Of course there's risks that come with everything, but like whether you did or didn't, there's equal different kinds of risk, and I just think it's commendable to be so smart. Like you've kind of, and especially too, you've done something your family really not hasn't done, but like all 4 people in your family have such different like lives currently. You might have grown up situationally similarly. Yeah. And like just to like beat to your own drum, it might look different than maybe what you thought it was going to, but like I just think you're so smart and very like driven and determined. And I don't think you always think that about yourself, but you are.
Thanks, bestie. That's so nice.
Of course.
I don't know if you've ever said that like
I
explicitly.
don't think I have either, and I hate myself that I haven't. Well, I was just like, what do I think about you? And I'm like, why are you trying to overcomplicate it? She's fucking smart.
Oh, that's so nice.
Like,
Thank
there's
you.
a lot I don't know why I say actually, like there wouldn't be, but there's a lot of stuff I come to you for that I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And you just do, and I think you keep me somewhat grounded in that way too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad about that. Let's see, one more positive for you. What did I say already? I said you're I said you commit to stuff, and then I said you care a lot.
Yeah.
And let's see.
I'm funny.
Yeah. What is that?
Hold the phone. Let me think of another one for you while we're at it.
Okay, let me think of one. It's giving I can't think. Oh my gosh.
What happened?
I just got sent a crazy emoji that I didn't know existed.
Isn't an eggplant?
Is that real? Yeah, it is, but it's not.
Ooh, how did I know?
Can I show this? Is that a real emoji?
You can make them.
Okay, someone must have made that because that's crazy. I don't know if I should have shown that, but whatever.
It's okay.
I didn't want to say it. I feel like showing it was better. Okay, one last thing for you. I don't know what to say because I'm trying to do something different than like a career related thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we talk about that a lot. Oh, okay. This one's good, I think. This one's good.
This motion you made was really cute.
I like how I think a positive thing about you is how independent you are.
Slay.
And I don't know if you like that. I mean, I think you do like it.
Yeah.
But I think you are really good at just like not letting outside forces stop you from doing something. Like if you want to do something, you'll do it by yourself. Or if you want to like go after this thing, you don't need somebody else to do it with you or like for you or anything like that. Like you're very independent and you think for yourself and can do for yourself without needing like somebody. Not that you don't need support, because everybody does as just humans, but like you're very good at doing things on your own.
Thanks.
So I think that's that's I'll go with that.
Thank you. I definitely haven't always been, but now I do think it's my superpower.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, last thing for you. I'd say you're very determined. Like I know we joke about you posting on TikTok every day, but like you're really good at being, like driven to do something. Like I think about the gym too. Like we talked about the gym maybe a month or two ago, and I know you've gone every day since, or at least every day that you said you're gonna go, or at least made a greater effort than you once were, or you're just someone that picks up on goals quickly. And like even you cooking more meals, it's just like, okay, I'm going to the grocery store tonight and we're doing it. Not like I'll start next week, I'll start tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, let's just do it now. Or there's also things you know about yourself that's like, I know I'm not going to do it then, so I'm going to do it now. Where I think a lot of people have the tendency to be like, I'll do that later, knowing you're
and
not.
And then never get around to it.
And then just be okay never doing it. So I think you've got good discipline. You're very motivated. And like, I know you always joke, like, I don't know what I want to do. But at the same time, the things you're doing consistently is what you want to do.
True.
And sure, it might not have led to maybe the end result that we think of in our heads yet. But like working out consistently is going to get you into the shape you want to be in and make you feel the way you want to feel. And posting on TikTok every day, even though it might not lead to overnight TikTok sensation, maybe it leads you to making a connection that gets you the next job or that creative passion. So that way, when John's not there, you have something to do. Like there's so many things
that come
from that. And I was conveniently watching a TikTok the other day, and there's something that's so much more powerful about being consistently dependable versus occasionally extraordinary. And
that's good.
I would put myself,
That's
when
good.
like, if it wasn't phrased that way, I'd lean towards the word extraordinary, because I'm like, I want to be amazing. Where I think you've always been very comfortable just being like consistently reliable and for yourself,
Yeah,
which is
that's
so
true.
hard to do, because it's not like you've always had these like, it's not that you don't, but I think there's been times in your life, being in school a little bit longer, there's not these like looming and dending things that
you're
are like,
100% right.
I have to have this deadline because so and so's depending on it. It's just like, Hannah wants this done, so Hannah's gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like all the way that I've done things from when we graduated high school to now, none of it has been like all these bells and whistles and like like not flashy, but like it hasn't looked crazy or exciting or like adventurous necessarily.
You haven't played it up for the aesthetics.
But no, I agree with what you're saying, and that's very kind. I would like to consider myself dependable in life and just like in the decisions I make. So
yeah, specifically for yourself. Like, of course you are for other people, but like, most people would rather let themselves down than other people, and I think you're the opposite.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
They're similar, kind of.
We can keep it.
The second to last one is, how close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's?
Warm?
Yeah, how warm is your family? How close and warm do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? I would say yes, my childhood was happier than most other people's, which sounds crazy because my parents were divorced, but honestly, I was too young to really be like that affected in the moment. Like, I don't even really remember what I was thinking was happening when they were divorcing. I think I just thought like I didn't really know what was going on. Sam was the one who was really like affected like crazy because he was older. But I would say my childhood was happier than most because I feel like my parents, well, one, we just grew up very comfortable, especially when my parents were together. Like, we lived in a really nice house on the water. We had a boat. Like, my mom drove a Mercedes. Like, when they were married, they were killing it. Not that they aren't now on their own, but like, it was just a different time. And I didn't realize like how low-key spoiled the life I was living when I was a child was. And I was lucky enough to, when they did divorce, they communicated still, and they weren't the type of parents who like only communicated through me and like never spoke to each other. Like, they weren't the type where they refused to be in the room with each other because they're going to start a fight. Like, they made a decision for like the betterment of me and Sam to have a cordial relationship and like make things as easy as possible on us. So I would say I had a good childhood, and I feel like my family is pretty close and warm. I feel like I talk to both my parents a lot, and even especially now that I'm older, I still tell my mom more things than my dad, but I tell my dad things now that I wouldn't think to tell him when I was in high school. And of course I tell Sam like everything. So I think our family is very close and warm.
Yeah.
Warm is such a weird word.
No, I would agree. I've always really admired your family's relationship in a lot of ways, and I feel like I've told you that several times. And even I've been around your parents, like, they still do things together that aren't just for you guys. Like, it's not, I guess, to hang out, but like, they still have, to your point, a relationship. Yes, I would say my childhood was also happier than the average person. There really wasn't anything that was negative. Was an internal problem and emotional problem. It was never physical or external. I mean, there's so many things my parents gave us in terms of like the freedom to really do a lot of things we wanted to do. They invested a lot into what made us happy. I, of course, to your point, was comfortable in the sense of I knew if there was anything I ever needed, I could have it. We weren't. We did have a good sense of like, you don't just buy expensive things to have them.
Right, you're not just swiping the card like, oh, I want
Right.
this, oh, I want that. Okay, you get it, sweetie. It wasn't like a free for all.
Yeah, and I mean, even just teaching us to be frugal of maybe not buying name brand XYZ, like just
definitely
reasonable.
Definitely.
But I think back to all the opportunities we had, and sometimes it was maybe too future focused, which maybe that's why I care so much about my career now, because that's what was emphasized of you need to be successful. But like I got to play all the sports I wanted to play. I got to dance as long as I wanted to do. Now I didn't get to do every routine or whatever.
Right.
But even just the amount that goes into 2 kids that are the same age. And like I remember when I was in 6th grade, I think I played 3 travel sports,
sheesh,
4 school sports, was involved in church. I just did probably
you did
20.
Everything.
Yeah. And they were like, you got to cut things. And it's not because we want you to, but like you just physically can't do it anymore.
Can't do it all. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they let me decorate my room how I wanted to. Every time I kind of graduated to a new school, they, you know, they cared. And at the time I probably would have called it being strict, and there's some things I think they care too much about.
For sure.
But like at the end of the day, I guess I'm thankful I had parents that like cared enough to have an opinion. And like,
yeah, you'd rather that than like an absent parent.
Yeah, we were very disciplined, and there was just certain expectations you didn't break. But yeah, overall, very happy and thankful. And there's so many things I take from both of them now.
Yeah. Good.
I don't know if we'd be considered warm.
I don't think warm is the best way, and not even in a negative way.
We're more like room temp.
That yeah,
like
yeah.
It's somewhat stiff.
Your mom just can be intense. Like she has an intense presence, which like
they both do in their own way, but her particularly.
Yeah, I used to be terrified of your mother. Like when I first met her, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
But honestly, she doesn't play games, and I respect that.
I think she likes it that way too, especially back then. She wanted to be feared. She said, don't mess with me.
Well, she did it because when I first met her at dance, I think I was like, whoa, who is this lady? And I don't think I knew.
I remember Myra told me, she goes, not many people scare me, but your mom really scares the shit out of me. And I'm like, yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. Oh.
But she has made it clear my whole life. She's like, I'm your mom, I'm not your friend.
True. Well, this rolls right into the next question. The last question is, how do you feel about your relationship with your mother? That's the last question.
You go first.
I feel great about my relationship with my mother. I don't even know how to explain my mom to people who don't know her because, like,
I love your mom.
She's just like, I don't even know.
Just her.
That's all it is. Like, I don't know how to explain it. She's crazy, but like not in a crazy way, in like a funny way. Like she's just wild. She's just here for a good time, not a lot.
She's honestly just a girl that gets it, you know?
She is. She, as much as like, I don't know. I feel like she's, of course, my mother before my friend, but I feel like she's a friend in the sense of like sometimes she's so annoying and I'm like, girl, be for real. Like, what are you talking about? But we're so close to where like we tell each other when we're being stupid. We like talk all the time. Like we also argue sometimes. Like we're I mean, like every mother and daughter, we have our moments. Sure. But I feel like we've gotten to a good place. If you would have asked me in high school, oof, that was an ugly time. I was probably yelling at her
weren't we
constantly. But I mean, most high school girls are bitches. So that kind of comes with the territory. But yeah, I feel great about my relationship with her now. I feel like I can tell her anything. She's hilarious. She's like the life of the party. And yeah, she's just I don't even know how to explain her. She's just that girl.
She's just her. Yeah. I think you did a really good job explaining her.
Yeah.
I think some of the ways you described her just even if I didn't know her, I'd get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe my relationship with my mom. It's just simply kind of the relationship we've always had.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's leveled out to a place where it's not, in my opinion, super consistent. We have lots of ups and downs.
Yeah.
But that's almost become consistent in the sense of I can kind of like roll with the punches. Like I even said this to her face at Thanksgiving, which I was surprised I said. Like, she is a huge role model to me, and there's a lot of things that I'm very inspired by her.
Yeah.
And the older I get, there's more things in me that remind me of her. But I love that I get the choice to kind of carry which qualities, and there's some things I'm like, oh damn, I'm my mother, you know?
Yeah. I think you said, I think we were talking the other day and you said something like, you were like, I'm turning into my mom, or like you were like, I just did something and it reminded me of my mom or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like most people, I mean, end up similar to their parents.
I know. Which, what was I gonna say? I said I admired her greatly, which I do. I think fundamentally we are very different people. Just what we value. And truthfully, as we get older, I think she's becoming more like me.
Mm-hmm.
And where I can think we relate the most, and my empathy to her is just like as a woman, some of the things we've talked about in terms of like careers as a woman, as well as like men and being a woman. I have learned so much from her.
Yeah.
And like, I was thinking about it last night, like my mom and my dad, and like I would say I'm a little closer to my dad, and I think I always have been and potentially always will be.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like, there are some things that regardless of my like affinity for my dad, that I would 100% pick my mom over, because
For
as a
sure.
woman, I just fucking get it.
Yeah.
And she has gone through a lot of fucking shit in her life. And I, of course, have only known her as my mom, not
as the person she was
a
before.
daughter, a wife, like all those things. So I just really respect the journey. And I gave her a book for Christmas that's like prompts to tell me about her life. And I think that could potentially start to piece some things together, just because she has been such a closed book until the recent years about, I think she's tried to defend herself in a good way of like, this is why I am the way I am, or this is what was going on in my head when you were feeling this way. And it doesn't make certain things different than what I know them to be, but it at least helps piece it together. And I think what I do commend her the most about is she's actively trying to build like our family relationship.
Yeah.
And it looks probably different to her than how maybe all three of us independently would want it to be, but she puts in a lot of effort, and that's all I could really ever ask.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I don't know if that really answered it, but
I think
I like her.
In a roundabout way, I like her.
Yeah, I like her.
I think it did answer it. Yeah.
It's been better, it's been worse.
Yeah, for sure. We all go through our ups and downs, especially I feel like relationships between girls and their moms can be awesome, and it can also be complicated, because that's just girls are girls. So
right now we're at a place, and I think we've also just kind of learned, even though we've tried the whole best friend thing or really close friends, and I think we just get too close and then we blow up. So right now we're kind of at a place where we know like, she'll send me some things. We have our commonalities that we'll text about.
Yeah.
There's been a long time I can't text her like one-on-one. Gotta be in a group.
Well, that was all the questions.
Wow.
There's still a part 3 coming, though.
Still a part 3. This is a long one, guys, but at the same time it feels like we just started. I don't know what it is, but these questions are very full circle, so maybe it's just because like where we started ties back in. And if you listen to part 1, I think you'll see a lot of like common threads throughout of our early years, our upbringing, our lives, ourselves, and then of course I think our friendship as the overall themes. If you like this, send this podcast to a friend. We know you want them to hear this because you took something away, and we challenge you guys to do this with a friend, a stranger, someone you love. I think it'd also be good to do it with your family members.
Yeah.
It's been a really great conversation. So thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned for part 3. And if you haven't watched part 1, also go back and watch that. We post every week on Spotify and Apple Podcast, as well as YouTube at Ken and Han. Be sure to follow us on our social media. She's at HRenzuli and I'm at Canacasto. And we'll see you guys in an episode really soon.
Bye.
Bye.